All right, we got a lot to dive into today. We have Coach K retiring. College Football Hall of Fame has announced the latest ballot for the 2022 Hall of Fame. Obviously, the huge news coming off just after we got off the air yesterday with the transfers to Georgia. We got Hawks, Knicks tonight, but I have to start. I hope he's listening right now as he's driving in his car back from lunch to the studio. Kevin Thomas, I got a bone to pick with you, dog. You need to move your toolbox.
You almost died. I saw that.
Almost died.
Yeah.
You need to move your toolbox away from the back door. Take it home. Put it in the back of your truck. I don't care. It's one of those big truck toolboxes that you put in the bed of your truck, right? He took it out of his truck and just left it in the doorway in the studio. And so you come out or come inside from like the blinding sun from outside into a dark studio. Can't see anything. It's a black toolbox. Absolutely destroyed my shin.
It was bad. Yeah, I was actually walking with you.
Yeah, destroyed my shin. So, Kevin, when you come back in here, I might have to just line up like a 9-iron on your shin. I don't know. I'm just kind of angry right now.
So the thing behind that
I'm kind of angry right now.
I actually helped him bring that in.
Oh, so you're to blame too.
I was like, no. He was like, it was like a Thursday or something like that. Hey, this is a couple weeks ago now. And he was like, I was like, all right, well, we just put it right here. If you're just gonna come get it Saturday, he's like, yeah, or Friday. The next day, he said he's gonna drive up his other truck and put the and it's been like weeks, and he's not gotten it yet. So,
Kevin, in terms of pain scale for just like innocuous injuries, like injuries that like where they hurt, they don't affect you that much, but they just hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Cam, like wrapping your shin against something is up there with like ankle sprain and stubbing toes. Like it hurts and it lingers.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like y'all got some personal stuff going on over there.
We're about to.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sounds like a fight, man.
Shin hits, dude. No, dude. I've been overseas getting wounded. I don't know, man. I might have to take another IED instead of getting the old shin kick. Oh yeah, I ain't having all that.
Shin against the diamond plated toolbox,
dude. You like biffed it. It was like bam. I was like, whoa, what the heck was that? Because I didn't see it either. It's like pitch black on the black floor. Bam! You're like, oh! I was like, oh, he hit something. Oh,
yeah,
a giant toolbox.
Immediate nausea and immediate anger. But we do have a lot.
You threw the trash can.
Yeah,
you did. Yeah,
immediate anger because that junk hurts. But we're pushing through it. All
Tough
right?
guy,
like Kevin Pillar, man. We're getting up after getting hit with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. All right, so we're pushing through it. We're back on the field. We're ready to rock. Got a lot to dive into today, though. Again, Hawks Knicks coming up tonight, Game 5. Cam, it's back in New York. What do you think the energy level is going to be like from the Knicks? Because I think if it's 2-2 and you're going back to New York, it's going to be a madhouse. But you're down 3-1. I think the Hawks might be able to take advantage of a little bit of the hesitancy from the Knicks.
Nah, I mean, the Knicks crowd is going to be wild. Regardless, they could be down 3-0. They're still going to be wild. They're getting basketball. But I think the Hawks will go ahead and get them about the way. Get them out in 5. I think this series is over. If you saw Game 4, you kind of looked at it and said, okay, Hawks are a better team, got the best player in the series. So, yeah, Clint Capella's talking a lot of trash. I don't know if you want to do that as the Atlanta team. You want to finish the season. You want to finish the series.
He's talking trash about them talking trash, which I'm okay with because Clint Capella has had the game to back it up in the playoffs. I mean, that's the NBA's rebound leader, right? Like,
true.
He can talk that bleep, and he has owned the paint against the Knicks. He's thrown down some oops on their heads. So, I mean, I think Clint Capella has earned the right to talk his talk. And listen, I've grown very fond of John Collins in this series. I've always liked him, but I mean, he's shown a different side, like kind of putting his nose in the middle of a bunch of these fights, like standing up for Trae Young out there. So John Collins has grown on me a little bit, but yeah. At what point, like how much do the Hawks need to go up in the first half for the Knicks to just start thinking about vacation? I think if the Hawks get another one of those 12, 13-point leads in the second quarter, the Knicks just might be like, all right, what do you think? Good this time of year. Bahamas, maybe we get back over to Europe and start to open back up a little bit. Cancun sounds fun this time of year. Like, at what point do they start thinking about vacation?
10 points, man. I think if it gets to double digits, it's over. Because them Hawks, they shooting the ball. They're shooting the heck out that 3 ball, and if they get hot again, the game's over. It won't be close tonight. Trae Young's special too. Just a side note.
I was looking at memes earlier of like people living in like cupboards for like $4,000. Imagine watching like the Knicks go out there and stink it up, then have to go back to your like
their $2,000
studio apartment.
$2,000 studio apartment.
Yeah,
with,
yeah.
Like, where the
Yep.
with like the combo microwave oven.
There might be
laundry
riots
machine.
in the street, dude. I actually watch out, New York. Please don't freak
No,
out.
no, no, no,
Please,
no. They're
please be
front runners.
safe.
They're
Please
front
be
runners.
safe.
There will be no riots. They're front runners. They're only going to storm the streets when they win a playoff game.
That's true.
Like they lose and they're down big in the third, fourth quarter. They'll start hitting the roads, heading back to the subways.
Look,
home. There'll be no run.
we had no beef, like freaking
None.
Knicks fans. We had none. You brought this upon yourself. I no longer like you. I don't. Sorry. You done put it upon yourself. I hope the Hawks win this game, and I hope you don't get back in the playoffs for another 8 years. That is the kind of curse I'm going to bring upon you for being just ugly.
But here
Don't like
is
him.
something
Don't like
amazing, and NBA fans will appreciate this. The call tonight, it will be on TNT and on TV, and it's going to be Marv Albert will actually be on the call. He announced that he is retiring after this playoff, but he was the voice of the Knicks 20 years ago. So you will have a guy in his final playoff calling the game tonight that used to, Madison Square Garden used to be his home. But on the flip side of that, Cam, you know who's going to be his partner tonight, as he always is? Reggie Miller. So, I mean, Knicks fans, it's going to be a tough watch for them because on one side you got Marv Albert, who you love. Flip side of it, you got Reggie Miller, who had a history of just owning the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. So that's going to be an interesting listen for Knicks fans.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. Reggie Miller hates the Knicks, so he would love to see the Knicks go down tonight. So it's gonna be a cool call, good game to watch. Yeah. I can't wait.
It'll be a lot of fun, and I'm excited for it. I just want to hear that bang.
7:30 it starts.
7:30.
7:30.
Like,
Right?
as soon as I don't know. Let's say Danilo Gallinari nails a three when the Hawks are up 10. I think that's when Julius Randle just goes to the bench. You see him sort of sneaking and texting on his phone and just getting on and texting his agent yeah, you know what? Bahama sounds good.
Does okay, say if they're getting blown out and it's in the fourth quarter and everything, do the fans stay or are they starting to pour out? Faithful fan base staying.
No, if it's another 18, 19 point spread late in the third quarter, I think you might see some folks start heading towards the exit. So again, I loved how the narratives have changed throughout the series. It went from we were making fun of you yesterday, Cam. I'm sorry, because it was the most evenly matched playoff series.
I thought it seemed like it.
No, but it wasn't just you. But it was just everything we heard. Most evenly matched playoff series, East Coast, West Coast. It doesn't matter. This is the one right here. 7-game series. Wouldn't be surprised if the point differential was just 1 point when all said and done. And now it's, the Hawks are just clearly the better team. The Knicks were just lucky to get to the playoffs. Julius Randle, he's the most improved player, but he's not a superstar, right? He's not a guy that can lead your team. I love how the narrative's changed after just 4 games. All of a sudden, the Knicks are a completely different team than when they started the playoffs.
I mean, you're right. I had the Knicks out tough in the Hawks. And sometimes you got to say you're wrong. I'm wrong. I had the Knicks out tough in the Hawks. The Hawks been punching them in the mouth all series, been bringing it to them. So, yeah, I'm wrong. I can eat this one up.
And I don't even think the Hawks have inherently been punching them in the mouth. I think the Knicks have been trying to start a fight, but what's the best way to deal with the bully? You just kind of ignore them. And that's what the Hawks have done. And so the Knicks and the Knicks fans, for that matter, are kind of losing their minds because bullies like being loud, and bullies like trying to push people. But when you just ignore them and nobody's paying attention, bullies they're not having as much fun. So
I actually think the Knicks are going to win tonight.
I mean, I think a lot of people are.
And then the Hawks win.
I think the Knicks are a
Cam said, nah.
No, they're a 1.5 favorite. I think the Hawks finish it up tonight. Like I said, I think there's a huge mental thing in this, where if the Hawks do what they've done the entire series, even when they lost, I think they had a 15-point lead in that game. If they do that in this one, it's a different story.
Okay.
I think the Knicks start booking those flights and get ready to go on vacation after that. Even Tom Thibodeau, man, just watch Tom Thibodeau third quarter if the Hawks are up big, just maybe like you used to do when you were in class trying to text while he's
now
Vegas.
They got the towels. They just put towels over.
Yeah, Vegas sounds fun. Braves dropped their game last night against the Nationals 11-6. It was a rough start for Max Fried. He goes 3 2/3 innings, 5 earned runs, 7 strikeouts inside of those 3 2/3, but 92 pitches for Max Fried last night was not a great start for the Braves. But I guess some positive news out of it, as the Braves are still 2 games under 500. Ronald Acuna ties Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for the major league lead with home runs. They're kind of having their own private race right now, going back and forth. Vlad will go up. Ronald Acuna will then hit one a little bit later that night. So that's fun to watch. But outside of Ronnie last night, it was tough. Acuna goes 3 for 4, 4 runs, 2 RBIs, a walk. He's on base 4 different times. And as we mentioned, the big home run in that one. But so another rough game for the Braves. They'll do it again tonight against the Nationals. We'll preview that one coming up here in a little bit. I want to take a quick break, though. We want to get to the news from yesterday surrounding Georgia's transfers. How big of an impact will that have on the national landscape in college football in 2021? And then we'll dive into the announcement of the 2022 College Football Hall of Fame ballot. Who's on the list, who should be on the list, and who will not be able to be on the list based off of some pretty ridiculous criteria, in my opinion. We'll dive into all of that coming up right here on Second Down. Second Down on ESPN Radio is presented to you by the Uniform Source. Christian Gokel alongside Cody Queen and Cam Ursher here on ESPN Radio. Glad you are hanging out on this Wednesday. I'm still thrown off, Cody. It feels like a Tuesday after that long weekend. But some huge news changing the landscape, I think, of college football yesterday. 2 huge transfers for Georgia. It started off with the signing or the reports of Darion Kendrick committing to Georgia, the senior corner, former All-ACC corner from Clemson, in a big position of need. And then not 20 minutes later, you have Eric Gilbert, the all-world former 5-star tight end out of Marietta, second leading receiver for LSU last year in just 8 games. He commits to Georgia, or on campus, ready to rock for the Dogs. So 2 huge signings for Georgia there in the transfer portal. And people have said positions of need. I think that's the case with one of them, and that being Kendrick. I think corner was a much bigger position of need than pass catcher because, George Pickens went down, and that can't be overstated how important he was going to be to the offense. But Georgia felt like they had some guys that could fill into that spot. You still had a ton of pass catchers. I mean, Jermaine Burton, Kyrus Jackson, Adonai Mitchell, Darnell Washington at the tight end spot. A ton of guys. Arian Smith coming back that were going to be huge pass catchers. But that being said, I don't know that any of them are at the level of Eric Gilbert, and he can bring something kind of different to this offense that I think George Pickens brought to this offense. And people are like, wait, hold on a second, right? And Cam, Eric Gilbert's a tight end, right? What are you talking about, Eric Gilbert and George Pickens? Eric Gilbert is not coming to stick his hand in the dirt next to the tackle. Eric Gilbert, if you go back and watch the freshman highlights and you look at his build, 6'5", about 240 pounds. Does that sound similar to anybody? I mean, maybe it's a number 4 overall pick in the draft.
A little bit of Kyle.
He's not. I'm not saying he's that guy, but I'm saying he's not going to have his hand in the dirt.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch his highlights at LSU, he was split out at the X. I mean, he was playing by himself at the bottom of the formation, split out wide and running wide receiver routes, right? So he's going to come to Georgia, and I think what you are looking at now on the offensive side of the ball for Georgia, when they come out in probably their typical 11 personnel is what we'll call it, right? 3 wide receivers, a running back, and a tight end. Going left to right, what you're probably looking at, Cam, is Eric Gilbert out wide, Kyrus Jackson in the slot, Darnell Washington on the other side playing tight end, and then split out wide Jermaine Burton, right? And you can mess around with that as much as you want to, running back in the backfield, swap in, like we said, Adonai Mitchell right there, Arian Smith, the burner, who I think just ran a 10.8 in the 100-meter dash, or in his portion of the 100-meter in a 400-meter relay for the University of Georgia. Just track speed, maybe the fastest player in college football. So, I mean, a massive get for Georgia. And I want to start with Eric Gilbert here. A massive get for Georgia, Cam, a guy who I think can replace some of what you lost with George Pickens going down.
Yeah, I was excited about this. Pickens going down kind of discouraged me a little bit about the season. Then we picked up Gilbert. I said, okay, he can pick up the slack right there, what we're missing. Of course, Pickens, he's an all-American. I mean, it's hard to replace that. But I was excited to see that. In my opinion, with these new additions we've gotten in the offseason, it's no excuses now. It's none at all. I think you should go the season undefeated. It's no excuses. You got everything you needed. I don't see a position of actual need for UGA anymore. I think they filled everything. Now you got to go out there and put the product on the table and put some effort. Win. We want to win now. We've waited long enough.
Well, we'll have Jake Crane of the J-Boy Show coming up on 3 and Out at 3:35, and he put it out there. He said, look, Kirby, you got to win it this year. There are no more excuses. You are looking like the most complete team in college football. And I want to put that as a caveat with this. You don't know as of right now that Eric Gilbert is going to be immediately eligible to play in 2021. I know there's some off-the-field stuff that people keep referencing, but outside of that, the SEC still has a provision in it that you have to receive a waiver if you transfer from one SEC school to another SEC school to be able to immediately play. Now, we've pretty much seen that get passed no problem, and they're actually voting tomorrow
on Thursday
on just completely abandoning that rule anyway. But that being said, we still have to wait and see if he's going to be cleared. All indications are he's going to play football for the University of Georgia this fall. But, I mean, Cody, Georgia, I've seen them ranked as high as like number 3 in the country, and I've seen them ranked as low as number 9 in the country. A lot of people really concerned because let's talk about what you lost, right? You lost 3 corners to the draft. You lost a bunch of safeties as well. I think you lost 6 guys that started for you in the secondary last year, right? Tyreek Stevenson transfers to Miami. You lose Richard LeCount to the draft. You lose Eric Stokes in the first round. Tyson Campbell's the first pick in the second round. Mark Webb's gone as well. So you lost a ton of guys from that secondary, and I think that's what was holding a lot of people back from selecting Georgia, even though the front 7 was nuts. Well, what's happened so far this offseason in the secondary? You go out and you get what PFF graded as the number 1 transfer thus far this offseason in Tyke Smith, the DB from West Virginia. All right, you add him, he's going to play star for you, right? You go get Brandon Turnage from Alabama, who there's a lot of reports out there saying like he wasn't going to be a starter at Alabama. So is he going to be a starter at Georgia? He's another body.
Yep.
You needed corners, you go get another body. And then you go get Darion Kendrick, who's an all ACC corner. And the reason he's not at Clemson anymore doesn't have to do with on the field stuff. He's got some off the field stuff, right? Some well-documented battles with Dabo Sweeney and that Clemson staff. He kind of came out recently and said he was dealing with some personal stuff. He has 2 children. His son was sick, and so he was in the hospital a lot, and he admitted wasn't in the team facilities as much as he should have been. But again, we probably will never know the full story inside of that. But we do know a few months ago arrested on like a misdemeanor marijuana charge, but also having a firearm, possession of a firearm. So dealt with that. So the reason he's transferring from Clemson isn't on the field stuff. So again, if he's all cleared and he's good to go this fall, I would argue Darion Kendrick's a bigger get in terms of what Georgia needed than Eric Gilbert.
They do need a lot of help there, but with having George Pickens out, I don't know, man.
But
you got this kid Gilbert, who was number 6 in the top 300 of ESPN.
Well, he's the number 1 tight end.
I mean,
there was 2 5-stars or 3 5-star tight ends, and Georgia now has 2 of them.
Yeah. Well, back to what you're saying with that might be their best get. I don't know.
I'm not saying best. I'm saying most important. He filled a more pressing need.
I don't know. I don't think
I wouldn't say they're more. I don't think anybody was saying pass catcher was a pressing need for Georgia.
I don't think one's more than the other right now because you lost George Pickens and stuff like that. Like we even had a whole entire segment the other day on who's next. We don't know. We don't know who's going to be the next up. We don't really know.
I think it was Jermaine Burton.
Exactly.
Jermaine Burton was really good.
Yeah.
We don't know until you know.
But now you have a guy you know is guaranteed is going to be a beast.
And Kyrus Jackson was really good. Like you had more knowns as pass catchers at Georgia than you do in the defensive secondary, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everything as of right now is a question mark in Georgia's secondary, or it was, right? Because not Tyke Smith, Speed had never started a game for you. Keely Ringo has never started a game for you.
You're right.
I mean, he got hurt as a freshman, never really got to see the field. So it's like you had guys who were like, they should be really good, but you don't know. Well, now you go out there and you get some guys who have played.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying Darion Kendrick is a more important get than Eric Gilbert. Not saying Eric Gilbert's not amazing. He's a huge get.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is like more pressing need for Georgia. It wasn't pass catcher. I would rank that at like about as low as it can go. Like maybe quarterback and running back were the only spots where I'd say you feel great that you don't need to add another guy. More so than pass catcher.
I'm gonna take it from what you said before. You have to score in order to win these days.
Sure.
I'm talking about like completely like.
But you also have to stop folks too.
Oh yeah, 110%. But you need. I think you need to score more than you need. Obviously that's the whole entire game. This is the most generic thing. You need to score more to win, obviously. But now you need to score a lot. Like you need to score a lot. And if you wouldn't have been scoring a lot, if you wouldn't have got someone else like that.
Yeah,
you wouldn't have been scoring a lot. You would not be able to keep up with Alabama. Would not be keeping up with DJ out there in Clemson, dude. You needed someone that you could trust that JT can trust to throw the ball to, and now you got this kid who is an animal. I'm telling you, he's going to be a first-round pick.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people are saying that Georgia potentially added 2 first-round picks yesterday.
Yeah, I agree.
Darion Kendrick is projected as a corner, and Eric Gilbert from all indications. Again, he was LSU's second leading receiver and played in 8 out of 10 games for them last year as a true freshman in an all SEC schedule.
I'm excited for this
team. So, I mean, I think it's going to be really fun. So I want to ask you guys, based off of the 2 transfers and assuming they both get cleared to play, where do you now, and Cam, I'll start with you, where do you now have Georgia in your preseason rankings?
2. You got to put Bama at 1, defending champs, and it's Nick Saban. But I have him at 2. I just don't. My expectations are super high for this team. It's no position of need there anymore. They filled it, so I got him at number 2.
I also have him at number 2. I had him at number 4 before this, and now they're getting literally one of the 2 best players in the nation, and especially at positions. I know you're like saying the position of need thing. They did need it. They had 110, and they were only missing a few things. They got their quarterback. Their offensive line is going to be good as usual, and they needed help in the secondary. They got the help, and not only did they get help, they got one of the best players in college football on the defensive side to help. Yeah. So, like, I got them number 2 right now. There's no excuses. And if they don't win a national championship right now, start looking at the head coach. That's all I'm saying.
Let's calm down.
No,
dude.
no, go ahead, man.
If they don't win it this year, when are they going to ever win it?
What?
No, when are they going to ever win it if they don't win it this year?
Oh, yeah.
No, I mean, no. Both of you guys need to calm down.
How many bowl games?
Stop saying the coach.
Stop.
I'm not saying the coach. But
no,
when are they going to win it?
No,
I am.
Cody is. No, but Cam, like, nobody thought LSU was going to win the national championship before 2019, but then all of a sudden you have a transfer quarterback come in, 2 wide receivers who were not highly rated recruits come through and have the best season from an offense ever. So you can't. It's too situational to say if you don't win the national championship, you should be fired. That's such baloney, man. It's
okay.
Like, should you consider a disappointment if Georgia doesn't win the SEC East and go to the SEC championship this year?
Yes.
Absolutely, 1,000%. That's different than going undefeated, beating Alabama probably in the SEC championship, and then beating 2 more top 4 teams.
So the excuse is it's Alabama, though.
That's not an excuse.
But we could be top 3 in recruiting every year.
That's not an excuse.
But it's okay not to win at all.
It's not an excuse, but football is just such a situational game, man. Like it's like, when do you start looking at the head coach? It's like, dude, who do you have coming back next year with the head coach? You have 3 5-star quarterbacks or 2 5-star quarterbacks and a 4-star quarterback. Eric Gilbert's still going to be back. Jermaine Burton will be back. You'll have most of your offensive linemen back the year after that. You'll have most of your defense back the year after that. So it's like, Georgia's not going anywhere. Georgia is what every school in the country want, or I'll say 125 out of 130 schools in the country want to be, which is they're actually in the conversation every single year.
Yeah.
They're in the conversation. How many other schools besides Clemson, Alabama, and Ohio State can say they're actually in the conversation every year?
Not many, but
I'd say none.
Yeah,
none, except for Georgia. So let's backtrack before we said if you don't win this year, let's start looking at the coach. Why are you in this position in the first place?
Take out the torches.
No, why are you in this position in the first place?
Because
of the coach.
Because the recruiting, you had the same thing.
Recruits?
Who
recruits?
Mark Richt was doing the same thing.
No, he wasn't.
Mark Richt was doing the same
average
thing.
Recruiting class was between 8 and 10, and as low as in the 20s.
And also, whenever they went to the national championship, whose recruiting classes were those?
Again.
Who
was the head coach?
But it was Mark Richt who recruited.
Who was the head coach?
Mark
Richt didn't recruit Jake Fromm.
Yeah, not Jake Fromm, but you weren't doing great things because of Jake Fromm. You know that.
Mark Richt didn't recruit
You
Jake
actually
Fromm.
would have probably won national championship if you would have had a better quarterback than Jake Fromm.
Okay, so now our argument went from Kirby Smart should be fired after this year. If he
I'm not
doesn't win
saying fired. I did not say fired.
And now Jake Fromm, who lost 3 regular season games in his career, wasn't a good quarterback. Let's go to break. Cody's out here just switching it up. We'll come back. We'll talk about the College Football Hall of Fame after this. Second down on ESPN Radio is presented to you by the Uniform Source. I'm gonna give you guys a chance to recant. You don't have to. Just gonna give you a chance to recant. Do we want to take back the? We should start looking at Kirby Smart's job if he doesn't win the national championship.
Me personally, I wouldn't necessarily say that, but I feel what Cody's getting at. It's like, come on, man. You got to win one. Give us one. Just one. This is the perfect year. This is the year to do it. You got to win this year. I just feel like this is a must-win year. Alabama's getting a new quarterback. Clemson, Ohio State. You're the only one got a returning quarterback coming back. You got to make something happen.
So what I'm getting from this conversation is good enough just to be in the talks.
Would you not prefer that to? I honestly ask this question. I honestly ask this question to people: is would you rather be like LSU and be like irrelevant for 8 years and then have one season in between that where you're great?
Yes.
So you'd rather have
you got lots of Bulldogs fans in 1980 would say yes.
No, I'm honestly asking: would you rather have like 4 seasons, like on one side of it, where you're just a super okay team, you're not in contention, you jump up 1 year, you win the national championship, and then the next 4 years you're just okay? I see. I wouldn't.
Yes, I would.
Yeah, I go cat. Yeah,
I like rings. Oh yeah.
I'd rather have my team in contention to win it every single year, and because at least when you're watching at the end, the games at the end of the year, every single year matter. Versus when your team's lost 3 games within the first 4, and your season doesn't matter after that.
No, I would do every 4 years.
It's the question, right? It's like with Florida last year. Florida had their window, they didn't take advantage of it.
Yep.
And now people have them ranked 17th in the country. Whereas with Georgia, it seems
that's a little high for me.
Where Georgia, it seems like the window outside of Kirby Smart's first year, every single year, the window's been there. The window's been open for Georgia, right? So I think it might be a little ridiculous to say you need to start looking at Kirby Smart's job if he doesn't win it, when he's the one who's built this team that you're ready to say you should start looking at his job if he doesn't win it.
I'm not talking about exactly his job. Maybe my wording was a little strong on actual Kirby's job, but maybe around him, what he's piecing together, maybe some kind of changes. I don't know. But
again, I look at it like Phillip Rivers, man, or any other quarterback in the NFL the last 20 years, where you're like, well, they don't have enough rings. It's like, dude, they've played in the same era as Tom Brady. I'm not going to hold it against any coach who has to coach in the same conference as Nick Saban, and that's who you have to get by.
And maybe
he's literally the best ever.
And maybe this is it, because now he's getting these quarterbacks in now instead of not like the Jake Fromms and all that stuff.
Why is this
where as you're saying, how many in the last what, like 10 national champions have had quarterbacks go in the first round?
Yeah. Well, I said 5. You needed a first-round quarterback.
Yeah,
but also the last time Jake Fromm walked off the field in the national championship, his team had the lead.
You're right.
Jake Fromm wasn't playing cover 2 against Devonta Smith.
Ugh.
Yeah, Jake Fromm's team had the lead when he walked off the field that time. So I'm not putting in a guy who went 33-3 in the regular season in his career and went to 3 straight SEC championships. I'm not.
Did he or did one of the greatest Bulldog defenses ever to grace the field to do that?
No, I think Jake Fromm was a good quarter. I don't know why people hate him.
It's a team sport.
Yeah. I'm not saying he was a bad quarterback. I love Jake Fromm. I loved him as a Bulldog.
Apparently.
No, I love Jake Fromm.
I'll tell you how
I ain't gonna lie, I like
it's just
so now the truth
not good.
comes out. Now the truth.
And you
comes
also
out.
had Nick Chubb and Sonny Michel, and
yeah, for a year he did.
He did.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
just 1 year.
And now Nick Chubb can't get into the freaking College Football Hall of Fame because rules
now
are
we're
stupid.
burying the lead, and now you're still in my argument.
Rules are stupid. Yep, that's why.
What are we doing?
You opened my eyes to that. I did not know this was going on.
Let's talk about this because
did not know it was going on.
Let's talk about something else that aggravates me besides Cody's college football takes. The College Football Hall of Fame, which we're a big fan of a lot of the people that work there. I want to start off by saying that we have a good relationship with them. What they do, I think, is very important because they recognize a sport that a lot of people love with a passion. As you can tell, the way we've been speaking the last 10 minutes to each other, with the passion that I think is unparalleled for a lot of other sports, right? I just bang my head against a wall with some of the decisions that they have made. I want to start with this. If you're the Hall of Fame, you shouldn't tie yourself to any definition outside of what you believe someone, or whether or not you believe someone is a Hall of Famer or not. That should be the only equation you have is, do we as the College Football Hall of Fame believe this person is a Hall of Famer? They, for whatever reason, have constrained themselves with some arbitrary rules around the criteria of what it takes to get into the college football playoff. One of them, and this is where they start for players, this is where they start, is you have to have been an All-American, a first-team All-American, to be considered for, or to be even considered for the Hall of Fame, to make it on the ballot. That eliminates so many players. And I think BJ has a great way of describing what a Hall of Famer is. A Hall of Famer is someone you can't tell the story of their sport without them, right? You cannot tell the story of college football without these guys, right? And two of the players that immediately jumped to my mind from the last few years are Nick Chubb and Jalen Hurts. Neither one of those guys were ever All-Americans, but they were both dominant, and they were both some of the best football players that we've ever seen. I mean, Nick Chubb, before he got hurt against Tennessee, was averaging like over 8 yards a carry his sophomore season, was well on pace to be a Heisman finalist and probably an All-American.
Yeah.
Right? Comes back from that, has a good junior season, and then comes back for his senior season, and they're a play away from winning a national championship. Him and Sony Michel are the all-time duo rushing leaders ever, over Felix Jones and Darren McFadden, over anybody, right? Over Cadillac and Ronnie Brown, Nick Chubb, Sony Michel. But because Nick Chubb was never an All-American, he's not even eligible to be voted on to be in the College Football Hall of Fame. A guy who I think has an even better argument and a better story than Nick Chubb, and that's tough to do, is Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts, true freshman at Alabama, leads his team to a national championship game and goes toe-to-toe with Deshaun Watson down in Miami, right? Toe-to-toe with him. Leads them down on what looked to be a game-winning drive. Again, as a true freshman, runs in the long run. Everybody remembers that. He goes like straight up the middle against Clemson's defense. Looks like a running back. Dives into the end zone. True freshman, no problem against Clemson. Right? Deshaun Watson then, of course, comes back down the field and throws the game-winning touchdown pass that everyone remembers, gets Clemson that first national championship, right? Jalen Hurts then leads his team back to the national championship against Georgia, and then Tua comes in the second half because they needed to make a switch. It was just the offense wasn't clicking. Georgia had a great defense, needed to make a switch. Tua plays good enough. I think people forget some interceptions, not a great quarterback rating in that one, and it looked like he was going to throw another interception until Calvin Ridley saved the day for Alabama. He leads his team to another national championship. That one they win. Then he transfers, goes to Oklahoma, and what do? Go back to the college football playoff.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts never didn't go to the college football playoff. He was a Heisman finalist his last year at Oklahoma, but he was never an All-American.
Ridiculous.
But let's think about what it means to be an All-American. Who were the quarterbacks that were playing when Jalen Hurts was there? Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, right? Joe Burrow. Those were the first-team All-Americans. But just because he played at the same time as those guys, he can't be in the College Football Hall of Fame?
Absurd.
I mean, I love the College Football Hall of Fame. I think they do a great job. But if you are the bastion of college football history, why would you put parameters around yourself?
Yeah, I agree. And you got to look at the numbers right now. So you got 12,650 players that play in college football, not including D2, which has roughly same number of teams. So double those numbers. So about 25,300 people. You know what I mean? So like it is absolutely nuts when you think of these numbers and only, you know what I mean? Like there's going to be more than just a handful.
And then outside of that, they also put arbitrary rules around which coaches will get in, which is you have to have been a head coach for 10 years and you have to have a winning percentage of basically 60% or 0.600 is the winning percent you have to have. Okay, that seems like you'll get in. Most of the good coaches will have a winning percentage that's mostly over 500, right? Well, you'll exclude guys who are the program builders. And I think the best example of this is the late Howard Schnellenberger, who what we know as the University of Miami. Like they were ready to get rid of football at Miami in the 70s. ready to get rid of it. Howard Schnellenberger comes in, had coached at Alabama under Bear Bryant. He comes in, and Howard Schnellenberger builds what we know as the University of Miami, all those teams in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s, right? It's ridiculous, right? It's ridiculous, but because he had a .511 winning percentage and not a .600 winning percentage, Howard Schnellenberger is not eligible. You can see the full list of players that are on there, and it's unbelievable, the guys that are on there. They're amazing players, and I don't want to say any of these guys don't deserve to get in. I just think Jalen Hurts, Nick Chubb, guys like that do deserve to get in, but because of those rules, they can't. I think it's a really simple change and one that the college football playoff can make. Really excited for our next guest here because this is going to be fun. On the line right now, offensive coordinator at Savannah State, but more importantly for tonight, New York Knicks homer, Russell DeMasi on the line with us. Russ, we've been just crapping on the New York Knicks for the past week. They spit, they elbow people in the face, they trip people, they step on hands. Do you have any defense for what you guys call a quote unquote team?
No, I can't give you what the fans are doing, or I don't know what you're talking about, Julius Randle. That's a basketball play.
Okay.
Well, for the fans, but the Knicks haven't done anything on the basketball court, so I really got no defense for the way we've been playing. But no, not a New Yorker spit on fans. I can guarantee you that.
I mean, I saw you guys. I should say you guys. I saw the New York Knicks fans like crowding the streets, like they just won the NBA Finals after they won Game 2 in the series. What do you think Madison Square Garden is going to be like tonight? Because we were talking, we think if the Hawks have like a 10-point lead midway through the third quarter, there's going to be a lot of players and a lot of fans start looking for vacations.
I wouldn't go as far as that. I think the Knicks got some fight in them. I was at Game 4, unfortunately, where they got blown out by 25 points. But Atlanta's just a more physical team right now. They're more physical. They're playing better defense. And honestly, man, they shoot the lights out of the ball. And those three things, man, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough tonight for the Knicks. But no matter how much they get down, I got faith they'll fight. And
okay.
I don't know if we're really talking it's going to be a game tonight the way Hawks been playing, but watch out if the Knicks get this one. If the Knicks get this one, it's going to be a series.
Okay, so I need a prediction. So what happens tonight, and if that does happen tonight, what happens after that?
Well, I'm never going to go against my Knicks. I got the Knicks in 7.
There it is.
In 7 since before the series even started. Always said Knicks in 7, so I can't turn back on that now. But it's really hard to see the Knicks stealing the game, to be honest with you. I do think if they get one in Madison Square Garden tonight, then it's going to be really tough for Atlanta back at home. I don't think it's a sure thing. But like you said, if Atlanta gets up early and they keep shooting the way they've been shooting, my head doesn't really see a way the Knicks can stay in it. But my heart will always say that they'll find a way to fight and claw, and especially, if the top two players can get going, Randall and Barrett, they really haven't done much of anything in the series. I think the Hawks bench is outscoring them. So if they can get going tonight, I think they'll be all right.
No, there you go. He's Knicks in 7 from Russell DeMasi there again. Offensive coordinator at Savannah State. All right, Russ, I want to give you a chance to come on and talk up your Knicks there. We appreciate it. You can follow him on Twitter at Coach DeMasi there. Russ, we appreciate it, man. Enjoy the game tonight.
No problem. Don't forget, go Knicks, go.
The hell out of here. Then go Knicks, go on vacation. We'll come back. We'll wrap up Second Down right here on ESPN Radio. All right, so let's recap today's show. Russell DeMasi has the Knicks in 7. Cam, you have them at 5 like me, right? You think it's over tonight?
Yeah, gentleman sweep. I think it's over in 5.
Cody, you said 6.
6. Yeah, I think Nick's gonna win tonight, then lose.
Cody and Cam are ready to fire Kirby Smart if they don't win a national championship this year. That happened a couple of segments ago. Also, College Football Hall of Fame. A lot of great names in there, but just some arbitrary rules leaving some great players out. So yeah, that's a recap of today's show. If you missed any portion of it, check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, ESPNCoastal.com as well. Do have a big show coming up on 3 and Out. We'll be joined by Jake Crane, host of the J-Boy Show. He has something very similar to what you guys said. He said, quote, Kirby, you got to win it this year. There are no more excuses. So we'll talk to Jake Crane about that. Also, Rich Homie Styles joining us at 4:20. And 5 o'clock, we'll catch up with Jake Roos, UGAsports.com. He will tell us a story about how Georgia landed both of those transfers. All that coming up next.